Hi and welcome. Today we are going to talk about one of the most symbolic and vulnerable regions of the human body, our neck. Anatomically, it is a narrow passageway, a slim column that carries some of the most vital structures of life. For our breath, for communication between the brain and between the body. A passageway that keeps the brain supplied. And yet, despite its delicate anatomy, the neck is also what holds the head upright. The very seat of our layer of our identity. The neck is one of the most symbolically charged areas of the body in psychosomatic and energetic understanding. It sits between the head, or mind, or intellect, or logic, and between the body, the heart, the feelings, and our instincts. It acts as the passageway between what we think and what we feel, between what we know and between what we express. When we experience physical tension like pain or stiffness in the neck, the body may be expressing an inner truth, an inner conflict between our mind and between our heart, between what we think and what we feel on the other side. It is a passageway where inner truth must travel outward and where external demands press inward. This is why we often feel tension in our neck, when we feel pulled into many directions, when we say yes while actually meaning no, or when we silence our true voice in order to keep the peace. The neck represents our expression, our authenticity, and our alignment. It's the place where identity must pass through in order to be revealed. Our expression. It is a place where our words, our sounds, and non-verbal cues take form. Even before our language, infants cry, they coo and wail through their throats and their necks. The body remembers that the neck is how we first called for help, how we first made our needs known to our parents, like that you're not comfortable. When this is safe, the neck allows expression to flow by singing, speaking, signing, shouting, whispering, laughing. It all emerged through this channel, through the neck. It is also tied to posture. A bowed head communicates submission or grief. A lifted chin is confidence. In this way, the neck becomes an expressive canvas not only for our voice, but for a stance in the world. But when the neck is silenced, whether by family dynamics, cultural messages, or trauma experiences, the neck holds back expression. This is where we see symptoms emerge like chronic tension, feeling choked up, sore throats, too soft or too loud voices, or the sensation of a lump in the throat that has no medical explanation. These are the body's symbolic ways of saying, there are words here I could not speak out loud. There are truths here I could not give voice to. At its core, the neck symbolizes authenticity. To live authentically is to allow who we truly are, our values, emotions, and inner knowing, to be seen and expressed without any distortion. The neck is the literal and metaphorical place where it authentically gets filtered. If the heart knows one thing, but the mind insists on another, the conflicts get lodged here. If the body longs to cry out or sing freely, but the environment demands silence, the neck tightens. Living authentically requires the neck to be a clear passage, a channel rather than a choke point. When open, the neck says, what I feel, I express. What I know, I express. And who I am, I embody. Finally, the neck is a symbol of our alignment. Anatomically, it is the bridge between our head and the rest of our body. If the head and the heart are not aligned, the neck feels the strain. If the mind races ahead while the body pleads for rest, the neck tightens, and if it's trying to hold it all together. Alignment in the symbolic sense is about balance. living in a way that allows thought, feeling, and action to support all each other. When the neck is in balance, there is harmony. I think what I feel, I say what I mean, I live what I believe. The head does not dominate the body, nor does the body silence the head. The two are in conversation with each other. They are aligned. When the neck is blocked, however, alignment breaks down. People often describe this feeling as a split life, one self that is shown to the world and another hidden inside. In trauma survivors, this split can be profound. For someone who had to hide their emotion to stay safe in childhood, the body learns, if I show who I am, I will be hurt. The results are chronic holding in the neck, a literally suppression of your alignments. What the neck represents is safety in exposure. To expose the neck is to trust, to guard the neck is to protect. Evolutionary, the neck is one of the most fragile areas of our body. This is why the neck is so often represents questions like, am I safe to show myself? Will I be protected if I speak my truth? Then we have connection, the connection between our inner and our outer world. The neck is where the inner world, our thoughts, our feeling, our truth, must pass in order to enter the outer world by speech, by expression, and by presence. It represents that threshold of expression. Then we have identity and visibility. The neck represents identity in motion, how we show the world who we are. The head contains the mind, the face, the voice. The torso contains the heart and the gut. The neck is the passageway between the two. It represents whether we allow these deeper truths of the self to rise up and be seen to others. A free and open neck represents a person aligned with their identity. A tense or blocked neck represents self-suppression, hiding, or fear of judgment. So the neck is a part of the body that represents the willingness to be visibly in authenticity. Then we have our voice, the expression of our voice. The neck also represents the voice, not just literally speech, but symbolically the voice. One right to say, this is me. The neck represents whether we can give those burdens a voice. It is a channel of expression. It represents the right to communicate your own truth. We have also integrity, the degree to which our inner truth is in line with our outer expression. It is the hinge that unites the thinking head with the feeling body. When we say someone is out of alignment, it is often visible in our neck. A head that is pushing forward, a rigid throat, or a bowed posture. When the neck is blocked, we can see suppressed words and also silenced voices. These can be the things never said, the cry for help that went unanswered, the no that was unsafe to speak out. The truth of identity that was kept hidden to preserve your belonging. Over years, these unsaid words lodge as a physical sensation. The lump in the throat, the tightening before speaking, the pain after long periods of holding back, difficulty speaking one's truth, the fear of being too much or not enough. We have the unexpressed identity. For those who have had to hide parts of themselves, their orientation, their spirituality, their true passions. The neck often stores that. It holds a chronic tightness. It is not just a voice, but also our personality that feels strangled. This is why so many people who struggle with speaking up, setting boundaries, or being themselves also suffer from chronic neck pain. Their body has become the container of their muted identity. We see also a conflict in what we feel and what we think. because it bridges the body and the mind. It becomes the site of struggle when the two are not in harmony. This conflict shows up somatically as stiffness in the neck and headaches, migraines, or the inability to turn the head freely around. A literal representation of being stuck between two truths. Like, for example, when the mind says, stay quiet, but the heart screams, speak, the neck tightens up. The core emotions we store in our neck are fear of expression and suppressed anger. The neck is the narrow passage where your inner world must pass to reach the outer world. When you speak, act, or even hold posture, the neck is involved. It is literally and symbolically the channel of your inner truth between what you feel in the heart and in the body and what you say or show through the mouth, through the head. When that passage becomes tight or closed, two deep core emotions are usually active beneath the surface. These two. The fear of our expression is the fear of being seen and the fear of being heard. It is the learned fear that self-expression leads to rejection, conflict, or loss of belonging. So, instead of letting feelings and truths flow upward and outward, the body subconsciously holds them down. And that fear often begins early in our lives. Maybe you were told to be quiet, to be polite, don't talk back. Or your emotions were dismissed or made to feel too big. Maybe you learned that speaking your truth could make someone angry or pull love away. So the body adapts. It protects you. The throat tightens, the neck tightens, the breath gets shallow. The jaw and the neck begins to hold the effort of keeping it in. You might notice it as chronic neck tension, a lump in your throat, or your emotional difficulty swallowing, or a voice that feels softer than your truth really is. And underneath all of that, the body is whispering, I have to stay controlled to be safe. I can't show what I really feel. If I speak honestly, I might lose love or respect from others. The second emotion that lives in here is our suppressed anger, the energy of the no that was never spoken. Anger is a boundary emotion. It protects your sense of self. Healthy anger says, this is not okay. I need to be respected. Something must change. That is what the suppressed anger is saying to you. But when anger is shamed, forbidden, or unsafe to express, it doesn't vanish. It turns inwards in our neck. That's suppressed anger. The heat of unspoken truth trapped inside the muscles of restraint. And it often develops in people who learned to please others, in people who say yes when they actually mean no, or who carry perfectionism, turning anger at others into self-criticism. Maybe you grew up in an environment where anger was ridiculous or unsafe, so your body learned to hold it instead. Physically, it can feel like the neck and shoulders hardening, a stiff posture, tightness at the base of your skull, or pain when you turn your head. Almost like you're refusing to look at something that needs to be seen. It can show up as jaw clenching, teeth grinding, migraines, or that feeling of your shoulders creeping toward your ears, as if you're bracing for the impact that comes. And underneath, the body is saying, I am angry, but I can't show it. It's not allowed. It's not okay. I must stay composed no matter what. It is not safe to confront or set boundaries. Now, what is powerful is how these two emotions, the fear and the anger, feed each other. The fear suppresses the anger. You're afraid of conflict, so you swallow your truth. And the anger, it feeds your fear. The more you hold it all back, the more afraid you become of what might happen if it all finally comes out in one time. So the neck becomes the bottleneck of authenticity. Muscles constantly working to hold emotional energy all still. It's keeping your truth inside and your expression guarded. The core question of the neck, at its deepest level, the neck asks, what keeps me from showing my voice? Am I willing to let the truth of who I am, my voice, my feelings, my identity, be visible to the world? Why am I not showing it now? The neck is where the most intimate parts of the self must pass through before they can be shared. It is the threshold where inner reality meets the outer expression. And so this question reaches into the oldest layers of the memory. Was it safe to be seen in my family? What happened when I spoke up as a child? Did I learn that showing my feelings would bring connection or just rejection? For many trauma survivors, the body remembers that visibility came at a cost. To be seen may once have meant being shamed, ridiculed, silenced, or even harmed. The neck remembers this, and so it tightens. It holds back the voice, stiffens the posture, and teaches invisibility as a form of safety. To face this question, am I willing to let who I am be visible, is to encounter both longing and fear. Longing because every human being desires to be known and accepted for who they are. And the fear because the body recalls what happened the last time vulnerability was exposed. The neck is often where the conflict between thinking and being is most visible, because it bridges the head and the body. It becomes a place where thought patterns are either allowed to follow downwards to enlive the truth or get stuck, cycling in the mind without expression. People who carry trauma in the neck often live with overthinking and self-monitoring. The inner dialogue may be filled with questions like, should I say this? Will it be safe? Will it be okay? How will they react? Will I be judged? This kind of cognition is protective, but it comes at a cost of authenticity. The mind tries to control the expression, and the body responds by tightening the throat, the neck, the stiffness in the neck, or holding the jaw. In psychosomatic terms, the neck becomes the battleground between the mind that wants to edit and the body that longs to just to release. The beliefs here are, is it not safe to speak? If I show who I am, I will be rejected. I must hold myself back to be accepted. My voice doesn't matter. These are not just abstract ideas. They become embodied cognitions. Every time someone swallows their words, the body reinforces the beliefs that silence equals survival. Every time someone turns their head away rather than face the conflict, the belief is re-engraved. It is safer to avoid than to reveal. Over time, these cognitive patterns form a psychological armor. Self-censorship, perfectionism, fear of confrontation, or even the inability to recognize what one truly feels. The neck tightens not only around the speech, but around identity itself. When the neck has become a site of trauma storage, people often develop coping styles like over-controlling, constantly editing, rehearsing, or holding back words, leading to tension in the throat and in the jaw and in the neck. Appeasing, using voice to soothe or to please others rather than express your own truth, often at the expense of authenticity. Silencing, withdrawing from speaking, avoiding difficult conversations, or letting others dominate expression. Over-asserting, swinging to the opposite extreme, forcing voice outward in harsh or rigid ways as a defense mechanism against vulnerability. And disconnection, a sense of numbness in the throat or in the voice, speaking in monotone or feeling cut off from one's own words. These coping styles all serve one function: to protect the self from the danger of being seen. Yet they also reinforce the very disconnection and tension that the neck is all holding. Many people with trauma in this area, they tend to clear their throat, frequently clear their throat. They cough or they feel choked up when emotions arise to the surface. They often complain of chronic stiffness, headaches, at the base of the skull, or neck pain that worsens under the stress. Their posture may show a lowered posture of withdrawn head, as if shielding the throat, a rigid uprightness, as if bracing against an attack. Some develop a habit of speaking too quickly or in half sentences or too softly, as if testing whether it is safe to express before fully committing to it. Others find themselves always apologizing constantly, even for existing, as if their voice is an intrusion. On a deeper level, many people with trauma in the neck crave authenticity and visibility, but simultaneously fear it. They long to speak truth, to sing, to shout, to be recognized, yet the body holds them back, whispering the old survival story. It isn't safe to show yourself. When the neck speaks through pain or tension, the body might be saying, "You are carrying too much. You are holding your truth back. You are resisting what life is trying to show you. You are trying to control what should simply flow." It invites you to ask, where am I being inflexible or stubborn? What truth am I afraid to express? Am I letting my heart and my head communicate honestly to each other? Am I overburdening myself with responsibility? The neck, more than any other area of the body, needs safety in visibility. It does not loosen simply through stretching or force. It softens when the body begins to trust that showing itself, speaking, or being seen will not lead to harm. Trauma often taught the opposite, that silence was survival, that expression was very dangerous. To release the neck is to gently rewrite that story. They need permission to be heard. The first thing the neck needs is permission, the inner recognition that your voice really matters. This does not mean shouting your truth out into unsafe spaces, but beginning to honor it within yourself, journaling, whispering aloud in solitude, or naming feelings privately out loud. Over time, the body learns, my words have a place, my voice belongs here. Also needs safety in expression. The neck does not respond well to pressure. Forcing yourself to speak up can create even more tension. What it needs is gradual exposure to safe expression. Choosing small, trusted moments to share a thought, to hum, to sing softly, to say no in a low-stakes situation. Every successful experience tells the nervous system it is safe to let some truth pass through. Also, it needs alignment of the inner and the outer, of the feeling and the thinking. The neck longs for harmony. When what you think, feel, and express align, the body softens. This is why dishonesty, self-silencing, or people-pleasing often creates stiffness in the neck. It's holding the tension of living two different truths. What the neck needs is a practice in honest micro-alignment, letting small authentic truths be spoken instead of hiding them. It needs a release of unspoken emotions. Because the neck stores the unsaid, it needs ways to release emotions that were once swallowed. This can be as simple as a sound, humming, sighing, toning, or even crying. For many vocal release, it is the most direct medicine. It allows the trapped energy of silence to find a channel outward. It also needs compassion in vulnerability. The neck is vulnerable, both physically and symbolically. It does not need to be exposed recklessly. It needs gentle protection while learning to open up. A scarf, a hand resting softly on the throat, or a mindful bowing of the head can provide comfort as the body slowly learns safety. Compassion here is key. You do not demand openness. You offer it patiently as a gift to yourself. It also needs reclaimed trust. The neck needs trust. Trust in the body, trust in a chosen relationship. Trust that the self can be revealed without destruction. This trust is rebuilt in gaining bit by bit. Each time you allow yourself to speak a truth and the world does not collapse, the neck learns a new story. Over time, it begins to release its grip. So have patience with yourself. Now that we've explored the deeper meaning of the neck, its role as the bridge between the inner truth and the outer expression, and the way it carries both authenticity and fear, it's important to remember that insight alone is not enough. The body doesn't shift simply because we understand it. It shifts when we experience safety, release, and new possibilities directly through the nervous system. This is why somatic exercises are so powerful. They give the neck a chance to learn in real time that it is safe to soften, safe to breathe, and safe to release what was once held back. Where the mind may still hesitate, the body can begin to lead the way. The practices that follow are gentle invitations. They are not about forcing, but about creating safety in small and steady steps. As you move into these exercises, go slowly. Listen to your own body. If emotions arise, that is not a sign of doing something wrong. It is a sign that your body is beginning to unfreeze the old stories you have. Let the exercises be less about doing them right and more about offering your neck safety, a new experience, one of freedom, visibility, and truth. Let's begin. Sit or stand tall, and on your exhale, let your chin slowly fall towards your chest. Feel the length spreading along the back of your neck. If it feels good, bring your hands to the back of your head and let them gently add a little more weight to it. Never pulling, just guiding it. Take here 2 or maybe 3 slow breaths. And then gently lift the head back up to neutral. Now softly tilt your head back, lifting your chin towards the ceiling. Very slowly. Keep the throat soft and the jaw relaxed. If you like to deepen it, place your palms together in a prayer and gently guide the chin upwards. Hold for a breath or 2. And then slowly return to the center. bring your attention to the shoulders. Draw your shoulder blades back and gently squeeze them together. At the same time, press your shoulders downwards, opening through the front of the chest and the base of the neck, and let your chin drop down to your chest. Hold here for 2 and 3 seconds and release with an exhale. And repeat this again. Draw your shoulder blades backwards, gently squeeze them, and press your shoulders down. Let your chin drop to your chest and take deep breaths. And release again on the exhale. Now turn your head slowly, as if looking over your right shoulder. Pause there and breathe deeply. If you feel tension here in the stretch, just breathe through it. Breathe the stretch away. Now come slowly back to the center and turn towards the left side until you can't go any further. Take a deep breath in and out, and hold it for a couple of seconds. Breathe into that tension you feel there. And turn back slowly to the center again. Repeat it one more time. To the left shoulder. Hold it there. Take deep breaths and breathe away your chest. And come slowly back to the center and turn towards the left side until you can't go any further, and take deep breaths in and out. And turn back slowly to the center again. Again, take a deep breath and notice how your neck feels now compared to when we started. Maybe it feels a little lighter, freer. Maybe there's more space to breathe. Remember, the neck is not just physical. It holds your voice. It shapes how you express yourself, and it guides the way you face the world. By softening here, you're not only releasing muscles, you're creating more space in your whole being to speak, to move and to live with ease. So let's take one final inhale together. Fill up through the chest, the throat, your crown, your head. And exhale fully. Let it all go. Carry this softness with you as you move back into your day. And remember, your neck doesn't have to hold everything alone.